Hello everyone, my name is Salma, and in today's video, I'm gonna explain the most essential things you need to know when you hear the word communication to help you expand your knowledge and mostly to communicate better. So keep on watching! The concept of communication appears to draw a wide attention, curiosity, and confusion among people. Whether you're a student, a professor, an intellectual figure, a journalist, a leader, a mom, a son, a daughter, communication concerns all of us because we find it everywhere. So, what do we mean by communication? When can we call an activity or an act a process of communication? And what is a good communication? First of all, you have to know that communication existed from day one on Earth and in the universe. We suppose that dinosaurs used it to communicate with each other through hoots, hollers, cracking sounds, and movements. The Semantics, which is the study of sign among animals, shows, for example, that bees use other cues and food exchange to transmit information to each other. Animal communication is not the only interesting field that exhibits the intelligence of creatures of the universe through the interaction. A whole science called biology demonstrates how the natural system communicates. Moreover, biology and medicine study the internal communication of an organism. So take for example the human body. In order to function, the human body communicates between its cells. The brain, which is the leader of the system, makes orders so as to organize the interaction between all organs and cells. This natural communication, which requires zero conscious efforts from you, exists perfectly so that you can live, breathe, eat, play, read, make love, and so on. But what can happen if this organizational communication gets disrupted, or even stops? A disease is a communicational disorder. Cancer is a communicational disorder between the cells. Death is a stagnation of the cells. And extinction is a long time absence of interaction and communication. So that leads us to the conclusion that says communication is an organizational movement. In other words, communication is life. Now let's focus the second part of this video on how does communication function when we talk about technologies and humans. One of the most popular theories of communication goes back to the 20th century. It was Claude Shannon, an American mathematician known as the father of information theory, who explained communication through his famous schematic diagram of communication system. For Shannon, communication is a linear process. It functions when the transmitter transmits an amount of information, which we call a message, through a telephone for example, and when the receiver receives the exact message transmitted. In other words, communication succeeds when the transmitted message doesn't get interrupted by entropy. Entropy, which is the technical word for noise. So let's suppose that you're video chatting with your friend on Skype or on Facebook, and suddenly all you're receiving is a blocky or frozen video and poor sound because the connection in your room is getting disturbed. This is called entropy, because the quantity of information transmitted from your caller is not well received by you. For Shannon, this is the problem of communication. Well, this conception of communication, which reduces communication to a process of transmission and reception of information, is going to provoke a reaction from different intellectual figures coming from human and social sciences and belonging to a school called Palo Alto. Palo Alto claims that the main problem of communication is not technical entropy, but rather a semantic problem. So, for example, if two people from different cultures and backgrounds are trying to communicate, obviously it's going to be hard for them to understand each other. Let's suppose that these two people happen to speak the same verbal language, but still coming from different cultures and backgrounds. Their interruption about each other is going to be based on their perspective on life and on their cultural system, which means that each of them is going to interpret differently a same message. This discovery brings Palo Alto to the point that communication is not just a verbal message transmitted between a transmitter and a receiver. Communication is the way you dress, your body language, the way you talk, the community you belong to, your silence, your actions. And this is also what modern linguistics tries to consider when studying language. So, if communication is about everything you are, everything you do, you say, you give, you take, you ask, and so on, how to communicate better whether you're an individual or a company. A better communication requires a clear understanding of who you are, what are your values, what do you live for, what are your main ideas and goals, and where do you want to go. If you do the homework by giving time to these questions to answer them, you will help yourself drawing a clear vision about your life. At this moment, your communication will become more and more efficient in your environment. because most of the problems and difficulties of communication for a person or enterprise is ambiguity. If an enterprise can succeed without a clear strategy and plan of actions, neither can you. See yourself as an important project in the world. Make this project your number one priority and invest by learning more about your personal and spiritual development. Let me leave you now with this meaningful quote by Dale Carnegie from his best-selling book, How to Win Friends. Success is due to 15% to the technical skills and 85% to the human skills, the personality, and the qualities of a person. That's all for today's topic. In my next videos, I will develop more this idea of a better communication in our society. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video and share it with your friends. Can't wait to read your comments. À bientôt!